Well, you know what distro does do that, unironically?
NixOS? Yeah.
Every time, I swear to God, every time it's a NixOS in a YouTube video,
Mhm.
oh, I use NixOS, I use NixOS, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yes, NixOS users are like Brazilians. Anytime you mention that it exists, nothing but comments about
Greetings from
NixOS.
Brazil,
Yeah,
5,000
exactly.
times.
And hey, that's great. Like they clearly like this is why esports works really well in places like Brazil. They are very happy that they live in Brazil.
Well, keep in mind, I'm like a fighting game head, and like a lot of the
Oh, right, right.
people who play stuff like Street Fighter Third Strike and King of Fighters and everything, all of you are Brazilians.
Mhm.
Like, okay, I'm gonna tell you a little fun fact. So,
Okay.
did you know that Brazil has actually kept really old consoles alive? So, there's a company called Tech Toys that
Okay.
has made new releases for the Sega Master System.
Okay.
It's TECTOYS. They've made like a bunch of ports of like Game Gear games to Master System. They just make brand new Master System games. And they do the same thing for like NES stuff as well. Because Brazilian culture in terms of video games is they aren't ones that like to throw away old systems like what the rest of the world does.
Mhm.
If they have a working system, they're gonna keep playing it, basically.
Right.
It's really funny how like if I'm looking up like, oh, I want to play a Sonic Game Gear game. Oh,
Mm-mm.
it's a Master System version. It's made in Brazil, like 99% of the time.
Huh. I knew there was definitely like a big fighting game scene there. I was not aware of that part though.
Yeah, Brazilians just fucking built differently. They like to do weird shit with their old consoles.
Mhm. Well, yeah, in like if you go to Japan as well, they have a lot of really high quality old consoles available. Obviously, it's not like new stuff being made, but like secondhand high quality devices. Here, good luck finding something that's not, hey, you want to spend $600 on a PS2? It's like, no, I don't want to do that actually.
Speaking of PS2, I'm very glad that I bought my PS2 when I did, because I think I paid like 60 or 70 for it. It was a fat PS2, like the
Mhm.
best one. And I was in a bidding war with someone over that, and I remember like 2 minutes left, and I'm just like, oh, has he done anything? Okay, put a number, and I did. Like the last second, I did, and now I'm streaming PS2 games like on actual hardware. It's nice.
Mhm.
I actually got like a fucking pound cable for my PS2, which basically takes like, okay, so when I stream PS2 games before, I use an adapter called a Kaiko,
Mhm.
and that takes the component output, which is a decent video output, and turns it into HDMI, and it worked,
Okay.
right? And then it broke. I don't know how, but it broke. So I was like, okay, what do I have left? Oh, pound cable? I was gonna do that anyway, so I got that. That actually takes the RGB signal, which is the best native signal from a PS2,
Mhm.
and output to HDMI. So that's how I'm gonna be playing stuff like Nine for Christmas Oogie's Revenge, the game I showed you on stream one time.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'll be playing that on stream at the end of the month. I'll be doing some like other PS2 stuff as well from actual hardware because I like that stuff. Any other console, I'm like, I'll emulate it.
Mhm.
The PS2 was the first like the first console with the first game I ever like fully played was just Kingdom Hearts 2.
Mhm.
That is sort of like really integral to why I like video games now, and I want to like pay respect to the PS2. So I got a real PS2 and I stream PS2 stuff because it's my favorite retro console, you know.
Mhm.
But it's a really good cable. Like I know they make other stuff for like Genesis, N64, Dreamcast. I'll probably get some eventually because I have like a Dreamcast and N64, a Genesis, stuff like that. I bought a Genesis that was like one of the better models that has like high definition graphics on like the little front that
Mhm.
actually outputs better audio and video or something like that. I haven't really looked into it too much, but I know like if it says high definition video, you have a better model. I also had, this is my biggest regret when collecting retro games. I had a Sega CD, but not just any Sega CD. It was a Model 1 Sega CD where it
Mhm.
actually had a working disk drive, and you could like press a button and it just opens like a PC disk drive.
Mm-hmm.
I gave that away to a friend that I no longer talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I will never get that back. And anytime I look up that Sega CD Model 1 on eBay, ludicrous prices. I regret that even to this day. I really want a Sega CD again.
Let's see. Sega CD Model 1. Oh, okay, no, it's showing you Model 2s. They're already really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sega CDs, even the Model 2s are like kind of fucky in prices.
Model
me see if I can-
600. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. I can see your problem.
Yeah. But it has a working disk drive, so we gotta charge it like $400 more than what it actually is.
Mm-hmm. I've never really been one to like really care about playing on hardware. The exception to that is when it's some weird hardware device where it's kind of hard to emulate it well. Like some DS games are kind of wonky to play. You can make do with like a drawing tablet, right? It's just not perfect. But for anything else, when it's effectively just a PC in a weird box, I'm more than happy to play it on emulated. I know some people like also playing on classic TVs as well. I don't really get that.
What's classic TVs? What's classic TVs?
Like they liked playing on
like CRTs?
Yeah, on like CRTs. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've been thinking about getting a CRT for a bit, but it's not like a top priority thing, you know? Like, I agree with you on like most stuff that if I want to play a retro game, I'll just emulate it. But there are some stuff, like if I have a PS2 and it just works and I have an output, yeah, I'll play that. Unless it's like Hack, which is expensive, or Xenosaga, which is expensive. I have the first episode of Xenosaga, and I think I spent like 40 on it. Xenosaga 2 is like $200. Xenosaga 3 is like $400. It's awful. Hack, you start off with like episode 1 of Hack with like $30. Episode 2, 60. Episode 3, 90. Episode 4 is like $200. And I'm like, I'd rather just emulate that, you know?
Well, the other thing for me is I'm not a purist when it comes to playing the game. Like, I want to upscale the game. I want to upscale it to 4K and make everything look nice and clean. I like having save states. I really don't care about the classic way of, ooh, there's a save point over there. You got to make sure you get to the save point. It's going to be 30 minutes away. If you die, you lose an hour of progress. Yeah, no, I'm good. I was fine with that as a kid, but if there are ways to not do that, I'm gonna not do that.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. Like, a lot of GBA games just emulate now, and I use save states a lot and stuff. It's just kind of just the exception because I just like the PS2. I have a working PS2. Why not just stream it on there? It's just cool. But everything else, like, I just use save states, especially with like Mario 64. I would rather not play the NSO version or the All-Stars version. I'd rather just boot up Render 96 with the updated textures and models and just run it, you know? And it just works, and it's great. Also, like, Sonic as well. There's a lot of, like, definitive version of Sonic games as well. The one that I'm thinking of is Sonic 3 Air, Angel Eye Remastered. Widescreen, has, like, better audio samples for the music. It's just great. I'd rather play that over like emulating 3 and Knuckles because just a better experience. Like 99% of the time, if I want to play a game that's like old, I want to make sure I'm getting the most out of it. I'm getting the definitive mods, the quality of life features, etc. PS2 is the only exception because I like the PS2 and I have a working PS2. But everything else, emulate it, upscale it, save states, mods, all that. Just I want the most out of my experience, not what the game designers intended or whatever. I just want to play my games the way I want to, you know?
I might be more interested if, like, games weren't now a, not just a collector's item, but like a collector's, a thing they will trade around for the purpose of making money, right? Like, I remember when you could buy retro games, and no one cared about retro games. Like, it wasn't a thing that you would buy and then try to flip it for money. It was, hey, this is an old game. Oh, look at this, I have this big collection of games. Like, That's I miss that time. I really do. Where you could buy, you know, like an NES game for $10. That was nice. And like games that now go for like $100 or $200, and it's the same thing with like PS2 games now. I remember when PS2 games were really, really, really cheap because it was like it wasn't retro yet. It was like a generation or two old. But now that we're like 3 generations old, getting close to 4 generations old, you're seeing these titles that were not even rare titles. They're just, you know, titles that for whatever reason have a lot of interest behind them, just getting stupid in price. And this is the main reason I emulate. I just don't want to spend the money. If I'd started earlier, I might have a different opinion on it. Or if I'd kept my collection from when I was a kid, I might have a different opinion on it. But getting into it now is really difficult.